Hey guys, thanks for stopping by the shop. Boy, it's a cool and a dark one this evening. I'm so thankful for my little mini split in the shop. Got the truck pulled in here. It's warm enough. We're going to do some work today. Guys, a little quick 30-second sob story before we get started on replacing this alternator. But man, I tell you, whenever it rains, it pours. I took my wife's 4Runner in today for a mystery noise that is in the suspension, I believe. And lo and behold, the shop couldn't find it. But we were down the 4Runner and we were down the Silverado too because the alternator went out. And I mean, it was so bad to where my lights were coming on and off on my dash. Power steering was failing. Headlights flaring in and out. And I told my wife, I told her, there's no way we're driving this thing tomorrow. You need to take our son to preschool in the Duramax. So luckily we had that, so we limped by for the day. But so happened everybody in the family's sick right now. So fortunately everybody is on the mend now, but I'm taking some time while everybody's relaxing and asleep to fix the Silverado here. So I'm going to show you exactly a step-by-step. If your alternator is going out, we've got a video on A, diagnosing it. I'll leave it down below. But then B, how we can fix this. And it's going to take you less than 30 minutes, even watching this video here. So I'm going to take you through step-by-step. And all you're really going to need are some basic socket sets and some basic screwdrivers, and then, of course, the alternator. Now, the alternator, guys, I don't really care where you get it from, but I will tell you that I shopped around some of my local shops. And guys, they were like $500. I mean, some of them were if you wanted a brand new one. I didn't want a reman. I wanted a brand new one. So what I did was I got on Amazon, and believe it or not, I found an AC Delco, which is the original OEM brand on this truck, $200 shipped to my door in 2 days. So I'm going to leave a link down below to that exact alternator. And you don't have to buy it from there. You can buy it wherever you want. But it does help me support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. And it just helps me make more content like this. So I do appreciate if you use that link. Nonetheless, let's get started, and I'll show you exactly how to tear this thing out. Come on over. Our very first step in this process is going to be to pop the hood so we can gain access to everything we need. Luckily, this generation of Silverado, they put the alternator back up top so you don't have to crawl under the truck. I much prefer that myself. So I'm going to set the camera up in here so you guys can see exactly everything I'm tearing out. All right, you guys should have a pretty good view from right there. My very first step, I think, if it doesn't interfere with you guys, I'm going to hang a light so you guys can see even better. That does interfere, doesn't it? Well, what I'll do is I'll show you step by step. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the negative battery cable that's over on the passenger side here. It is right in this back corner. I just need to loosen this nut. I'll tell you exactly what size it is here. Working in metric today, folks. Let's see, I'm going to guess that's got to be a 10, right? I think a 10 is going to fit. So I'm going to take a 10 millimeter and we're going to disconnect that negative battery cable. That should be loose enough. You want to pull it up, just straight up, and set it off to the side where it can't fall back and get itself again. Always remove the negative, don't remove the power. Now we're going to move on to that airbox. The first thing that we're going to have on the airbox that we need to get rid of is this big piece right here, and that's really pretty easy to do. First, let's disconnect this sensor right here. This is your mass airflow sensor. You'll hear it referred to as your MAF sensor. There's a little red tab. All I'm doing is pulling up on this. And then it looks like, does it just pull straight out or do I need to push something? Yeah, okay, so you push a little blue tab once you pull that red tab, and then the whole connector comes up. You can just set that off to the side. Then there's going to be a little hose right back here with a gray clip. I want to push down on it, pull back, and it's just going to rotate basically 90 degrees like that. There's one on the other side of the airbox as well. Right here, clips on the bottom. I'm going to push up on it and then rotate basically 90 degrees back, just like so. That releases the connectors that are on the airbox to where now we can take a flat-headed screwdriver or a socket, your preference, and we need to release the airbox. There's going to be a bolt right here that I'm taking a flathead screwdriver. Just going to unscrew it enough to where I can release it. And you'll see this basically just pulls off here. just like so, pulls off the actual air box. And then we need to do it to the throttle body. Throttle body is where the air goes in to the engine right here. So if I come up top, it may be a little bit hard to see right there. Another screw that I'm just going to undo, flathead screwdriver. And you can get a little bit mean with this. Just grab it right here and then pull it towards you a few times. You may wiggle it back and forth a little bit. They can tend to seize on there just a little bit. What you're going to see is this pops off, revealing your throttle body, and you can take this whole box out of the way. If you ever wanted to know why this is designed the way it is and just why it's so bulky and covers up a lot of the engine, well, it's designed to take air in, and the way it moves the air in around here, it actually makes it quiet. So this is to reduce engine noise. But that comes out, and looky right there. We got ourselves an alternator that we can work on. So the next thing we need to do is we need to relieve tension that's on the belt in this engine. So I'm just going to take my little air baffler, whatever it's called. I'm going to set it off to the side. Now to relieve tension on that belt, we're going to take, I believe it's a 3/8 drive for the half tons. Moves up to a 1/2 inch for the 3/4 tons. And there's a little tensioner pulley that's down here. You guys can probably see it from the camera there. It's right here. You'll be able to see where you can put your wedge in there. Oh, I'm wrong. It is a 1/2 inch on the drivers. So you need a 1/2 inch breaker bar or ratchet, your preference. Breaker bar is probably going to be easier just because you get a little more leverage. And the idea here is I'm going to take my breaker bar and I'm going to put it in this little notch right here. The idea is once you get it in there, you can push down on it. And you're going to be able to relieve tension on your belt. See, just like that. And all I'm going to do is take my pulley off of my alternator, just like that. And then you can relieve the tension. And now you can see our alternator is free to spin. Now I'm going to take it, just curious, spinning by hand here. It doesn't feel necessarily bad, but oh no, I can feel some slop in it. I don't know if that means a good thing or a bad thing, but definitely has some slop in it. Okay, now it's on to, let's take care of the electrical connectors first. We're going to pop this little rubber boot off, and we've got, if I can slide this back just a little bit, we've got a nut there. I'm going to guess it's 13 mil. So we're going to take that nut off. Just break it loose. Take this nut off so we can take the wire off. There we go. Set that wire out of the way. Put this nut over here. And then we've got an electrical connector. How does this thing come off? Just got a clip up top. You squeeze the clip, pull it up. Now there are two nuts right here. I'm going to guess those are a 15 millimeter. We need to break those loose, and the alternator should just kind of come out of there. Okay, is it a 15 mil? Yep. All right. Ugh. You don't got to be Superman. This isn't. Oh, these aren't the world's tightest bolts. Oh, I know another symptom that I should have known. These are long bolts, by the way. They're going to pull out quite a ways. See? Another symptom that I should have paid attention to as well is there was kind of a weird rubberish burning smell or plastic smell that I noticed for a little bit, but thought, oh, that's kind of weird, and probably should have paid more attention to it now that I come to think about it. But if you smell that, that's probably not a great smell. It means that alternator is getting really hot. And, you know, I've never known anybody personally that has had one catch fire because of this, but it could happen. So yet another reason to swap it out. There's the second bolt. Note there is a size difference. The bigger one goes on the left bottom hand. The smaller one goes on the right upper hand. Now this alternator, sometimes they can be a little bit stuck in place, so you may have to give it a little persuasion and beat on it a little to come out of there. At least some of them I've had to. So, boy, howdy, she's in there too. Yeah, I'm gonna get a little persuasion. Use an old beater screwdriver if you want. Piece of wood. Oh yeah, it's not too tight. So all I'm doing is I'm taking this drift, and that's not really what these are meant for, but boy, they're handy for it, I'll tell you. Setting it under the underside of the alternator and giving it a few taps. I'm not going crazy. If you live in the Rust Belt, you might have to, but she's moving out all right. Okay, so we got that side. The other side's needs a little persuasion too. Let's see if we can hit on it from another angle here. Maybe even just give it a few taps from this side. Now, if you got a good alternator, I don't know that I'd be beating on it like I just showed you there, but you can see out with the old, there she be, old alternator that we think is, oh, look at the crap coming out of it, that we think is bad there. You guys want to go look at the new one? I think so. Here we be at the workbench. Let's get the new one out of the box here. Now, I'll tell you guys, this is where Amazon really did right by me. Look at this. This is GM OEM part. This is the same part that came off of it. And, you know, this isn't some cheap jobber. This is one that you can trust. You know, I think there's probably some dudes out there that probably do a decent job remanning, but I've always liked OEM parts, especially whenever it comes to something vital like this. Look at that. Foam sealed. Ooh, there it is. It's a Denso too, so you know what that means. This puppy, yeah, it is a Denso, just like the one I got. I am a sucker for made in Japan stuff. Denso, they make some good quality stuff. And I tell you, the Japanese, they do not skimp on quality. They make some good stuff. Good folks over there. So this is the new part. And here's the old. So setting them side by side, I mean, it's the same freaking thing. Yep, that's it. This one does not have the slop like the one on the left, the one that we took out, which was a Denso as well. But that's got to be our issue, folks. All right, so let's take the new one over to the truck and slap her in. What do you say? Nice thing about that too is I don't have to take this as a core trade-in. This is mine. I could resell it. I could have it refurbed if I wanted to, bushings in it or whatever. And that way I had a backup if I wanted to, or if I get it refurbed, I could sell it to somebody, right? So, you know, even though this cost me $200, I don't have to change this in for a core charge. I could possibly sell it and get some money back. But nonetheless, let's take this over to the truck, throw it in. All right. Let me come over from the bench with it here. We'll set this in the truck. Boy, I tell you, even whenever my truck has issues like this, there's a sense of pride whenever I can throw a part in and know that I got something brand new and taking care of this thing to keep on trucking down the road. So all we got to do is take this thing and set it in place. There are, you know, and I'm wondering now that I look at it, there are some, I don't know what kind of bushings those are. They may need to be pushed out just a little bit. What's going to be the best way to do that? Can I just tap them out? See these little bushings right here? That's what gives the alternator a pretty tight seal, it feels like. So I wonder if I can kind of push these out just a little. All right, so pay close attention here. What you're going to see is there's a couple bushings here. It's a little metal bushing here and here. That's going to make it kind of difficult to get that alternator in there. So get you a screwdriver or something that can give you a little bit of leverage to put it on right here. and take your hammer and drive those out so you got a little place to put that alternator in there. Or I could even take this hammer and I was able to gently tap it this way like that. You can do that for both of them actually. So as you can see, use a little lubricant, whatever you need to try to get that pushed out. That alternator should fall in place beautifully to where you don't have to beat and bang on it, because you don't want to do that to your nice new part, right? So you're going to see how beautifully that falls into place now. And now, kind of like that. Now, we just got to re-engineer this thing. So, you remember everything we did? Took out a few bolts. When you put those bolts back in, so I'm going to take the long one. Remember, it goes on the bottom here. Just kind of shimmy and shake it till you get everything lined up. And it will, I promise. If you get those bushings pushed back, you're going to see that line up pretty nicely. I'm going to start just a few threads. I'm not going to tighten it down because I need to get the other one driven in too. So now that that's in there, I might even take my hammer and reset that bushing just a little bit. Doesn't have to be super tight because you want to be able to have a little wiggle room on it, just like this. So now, what I can do is set this in there, line it up, and we just got to send it home. We'll start tightening these up by hand. And then I'm going to tell you this too, guys. If you want to do this right, there is a torque spec for this. I don't have the manual. I'd read online for a lot of the Silverados, 37 foot-pound torque. But I'll tell you, I've never torqued one on a truck before. If you got the tools at your disposal, it's not a bad idea. Go ahead and do it. If you don't, just get it about as tight as it felt whenever you took it off. I mean, obviously you don't want this thing so loose that these bolts vibrate loose and, you know, your alternator comes flying off in your belt and destroys stuff, but you also don't want to get it so tight that you're stretching out threads or break off heads of bolts. That won't be fun either. But today I've made enough money that to justify a spending purchase, I bought a nice little snap-on torque wrench. I'm going to demonstrate for you guys. We're living the fine life today. So I'm going to take my torque wrench, turn this thing on, and we need it to be, what did I tell you, 37 foot-pound? We're going to jump up. Yeah, 37 foot-pound. I don't know if you can see that on camera. I'm going to take my 15 mil socket. I think you guys will enjoy this. It's got a little LED light to tell you whenever you're on it. So I'm going to start torquing, see? And if it turns red, that means you over-torqued. But I'm just kind of slowly, whoa, see, I over-torqued to 39 pounds. So if I wanted to, I could, I mean, that's not much, but I can untighten. It says I got a low battery. But we can tighten this thing down. Oh yeah, I gotta reset. So we can turn the torque way up. 37 pound. And now we torque her down. You'll see it light up, and it'll tell you. You can watch the screen. There we go. So we're right on 37. Now I'll do that down here. Beautiful. We are torqued up, folks. And we're done with our torque. So now we can start reconnecting connectors. My electrical connector up top, plug that in. You know, let's put this belt back on. Make sure you get it wound back the direction it was supposed to be if you came off any pulleys or anything. So now I'm going to take my 1/2-inch breaker bar, set it in there. Here's the fun trick. So I'm going to set it in there, just as you guys can see here, roll it down, up and over. Make sure it lines up beautifully. Don't get your fingers caught anywhere. And as long as you are on all the ribs and stuff and not just crazy off, the back smooth side typically will pull itself pretty straight. But the ribs you definitely want to be on. You can see we've got that on there. Now let's take this electrical connector, run it back around here, get it reset. And I got to get the nut for it, of course. Let's put the nut on there. I don't know if this has a torque spec or not, but being that it's not on the drive chain, or being that it's not belt driven, I'm not terribly worried about it. What did we say that was, guys? 13 mil. Get that tightened back down. It wasn't stupid tight. Not like that. Put our dust boot back on so it stays nice and dry and covered. And what next, guys? We got the alternator in. I think we just put our airbox in is all we got to do now. So come over here, grab that airbox down low. Ooh. And now let's finesse this back into place. Like that. All right, so first I'm gonna put it over the throttle body. I start from the top, kind of angle it up towards me, going down towards the truck, and then put it on. Or you can try to start from the bottom, whatever is easiest for you. I find it kind of works best that way, kind of shimmy it back and forth. Make sure you're on the bottom too. You don't want to suck air in, especially like where I live, in a dirty, dusty environment. Nasty. And now I'm just gonna put that screw back down good and tight. I'm going to reconnect these doohickeys. Make sure they clip on. You'll think that they clip on sometimes, but they don't. There we go. That's clipped on. Now, over here by the airbox, just make sure that this fits back on like it's supposed to. Once again, kind of wiggle it left and right. Get it started on one side, and then you just kind of got to finesse it on there. It can be a little tricky sometimes. This is going to be the hardest part of the night right here. There we go. And now we'll just tighten this back down. And then there's one more electrical connector. You guys remember where it was? You're looking at it. To the left of the screwdriver there, your MAF sensor. So, hunt that down wherever you threw it in the engine bay. Plug her back in and make sure to push the, you hear it click, push the red tab back down. Throw away the plastic insulator there that is no longer good because it's a 10-year-old truck. That's it, guys. It's a done deal. So now we can fire her up, make sure she sounds good, no issues running, anything like that. And that's it. Now, as I'm kind of picking things up here, I do want to tell you too, guys, that don't get freaked out if whenever you first turn this on, the electric fans kick on. Oh, you know what? We got to reconnect the battery. I forgot about that. 10 millimeter. But if you reconnect your MAF sensor, I've disconnected mine a couple of hundred times because I'm a YouTuber and that's what I do, take things apart. But whenever you reconnect it and you first start up your engine, your electric fan may kick on. That's happened to me a handful of times. Don't let that bother you. I've found that literally just turning the truck off, letting it sit for just a few, ooh, nice little spark there. Letting it sit for a few and then turning it back on, it'll go off. So we'll have the moment of truth here in just a second. Let me get that tightened down. Okay, and so now I'm just going to take the rest of my stuff down here and start picking some stuff up. Well, see my light flashing over there? I've been out here too long. My battery's dying. But I can get that fixed up here shortly. Don't Don't mind me, guys. I'm just off here in the corner picking up some tools. I like to take all my stuff that I use because I live in a dusty environment. I take all my stuff after working and I put it on my tool cart, put it on my tool bench, and I try to clean it up. It just helps me stay organized, clean, makes me happy. It's my thing that I do. Okay, moment of truth. I'm gonna close this hood. You guys are gonna see me do something that's not real smart here, but don't worry, I'm literally doing it just for a second so we can test and see. If you're going to test, always open your garage door. Don't leave it closed for fear of carbon monoxide poisoning. I'm just gonna start this thing real quick and we're gonna see if she purrs or not. All right, you guys are gonna hear me because the mic's with me. Well, let's see what she does. My amp step didn't come down. Okay, here we go. Where are the keys? In the pocket. All right. I think she sounds pretty good. We're back up our voltage that we should be. Over 14 volts, probably because it's charging the battery up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. That was easy peasy. I'm gonna close this door, see if I can. My amp step never came down and I don't know why. Beautiful. No awful noises. We're charging up. We're good, guys. Other than me not knowing about my amp step here, I may have to do a reset procedure on it or something. I don't know what's going on. But that's it, folks. I think we're golden now. Well, that's something I'll have to figure out here. I don't know why they're not coming down. That might be a good video, right, guys? Well, nonetheless, our job here is done. So I'm going to let you guys go. If you appreciated the video and you have trouble with this or know somebody is having trouble with this, share this video with them as a word of encouragement that literally with a couple of hand tools, you guys can do this. I used a hammer, screwdriver, and a couple of sockets. Everybody's got those around the house, or at least you should. And then, of course, the alternator, the AC Delco from Japan. This truck, I mean, alternator lasted 150K. This one ought to last another 150K, and it's priced $200. I can't be too upset. A lot better than having a truck payment or spending 60K on a new truck. This thing's going to run for quite a while. All right, guys, be sure to leave that like. Check out that link down below. It is appreciated. And until next time, take care.